All right, welcome in. Hanna Time. Cornelius, Brad, Hanna. Sports talk, lots to talk about. NFL Week 1. We're going to be loaded up on football. Got a little bit of basketball on the back end, some small little baseball story about Babe Ruth that you're going to like, some historic stuff. And Las Vegas spending $80 million just to lay down some track for their Grand Prix race. Another waste of money, but it's Vegas, wasting money, right? And we're going to talk to a special guest, a new format to purchase tickets to any event, from sports, concerts, plays, you name it, a big show. But it's going to be direct to the person who's selling it and buying it. No gimmicks in between, no high fees, all that good stuff. But we're going to get to all that and more in 30 seconds. Are you ready to count it down with me? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Back into Hanna Time. Cornelius, Brad, Hanna on Global Sports Broadcasting Network. Let's break it down for you, what we're going to talk about. And let's see here. Well, the NFL Week 1, everybody just gets all hyped up. We overreact. There's a lot of storylines and narratives, and everybody's dumping on people. It's Week 1, and there's a 17-game schedule. It's like, relax. Aaron Rodgers, even what happened to him, like, relax. And there's some teams that maybe you get a little worried about, but it always hurts when your team loses. And if your team wins, you think you're going to the Super Bowl. Relax. Come on, Aaron. Just talk up a little bit. Let them all hear you. All right, so the big show, we're going to talk about Week 1. We're going to talk about rookie quarterbacks. You know, like I said, we are going to talk about Aaron Rodgers and everything else. But he did say something not too long ago, later on in the day, about his future. So you want to hang in there. That's coming up here in a few minutes about Aaron Rodgers. And there's something that I've been saying since the night I saw what happened, like you all did. And there's no way. There's no way. I'll leave it right there. Figure out what that means. Okay. All right. And then we're going to get the P2P ticket exchange. The man who created it online and everything else to get your tickets direct from the buyer, with no gimmicks and guaranteed stuff, folks. I mean, when you say guaranteed, it's guaranteed, and we'll get to know more about that. It's exciting for fans, sports fans, anybody who loves tickets and going to shows, okay? And we'll get into that, who knows, maybe 10 minutes max from this point on here of the show. But let's get into the NFL. Let's talk about let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. Just do it right off the top, because it's the biggest story of the week in the NFL. Even when, if you're trying so hard to change the narrative, it's just grows. And it's Wednesday, late afternoon, it grows again. And this is why. You want the answer, folks? Do you really want the answer? All right. Here's the answer itself. I got this from Mike Jurecki, our NFL insider itself. Well, he posted it. Came off of Instagram. Aaron Rodgers made a statement, folks. That's a beautiful shot, by the way. So that was an amazing opening of a football game. But Aaron said, not over. He shall rise yet again. You know what that means, folks? He's coming back. And I know, give it up. This guy is in tremendous physical health. The guy is mentally strong. Everything about it. If there's a guy who can pull this off, it's him. Now, Achilles take about 4 to 6 weeks. Okay. Achilles heels take about 4 to 6 months. Months when you completely rip it and tear it, right? To get back out in a normal state of activities. Now, when it comes to sports and the heaviness of football, you can still do it. You can still do it. There have been other athletes who have done it before, okay? But if Aaron can pull this off, the best case scenario is late January, if the Jets can get that far. Do the Jets push it? Scenario, whatever's going on at the time, we'll see. Wait and see. But I remember Rod Woodson, Super Bowl 30, he played in it. But in week 1, he tore up his knee. he was supposed to be done. We're talking the shatter-ripping, shredded knee that athletes have gone through, and you don't come back for another year, maybe two, right? He pulled off the miracle. He played in the Super Bowl. The Steelers hung on to him, and they left a spot on the roster for him, just thinking that maybe, just maybe, could happen. Now, the rules have changed. They got IRs that last a few weeks, and you can manipulate stuff. Back then, when you get a guy on the IR, he was done. So the Steelers left the spot open for him. But see, what I'm talking about is specific crazy athletes who take care of their bodies and things like that, and most of them should. And Rod Woodson proved it. And he got back, and he started for the Steelers in that Super Bowl 30 against the Cowboys. And he played well. He played like a Rod Woodson. So don't count out Aaron at the end or mid-January, depending on how perfect of a storm this could be for him, as the sun may rise one more time for the Jets. But if not, his quote, again, I'll pop it on the screen one more time. There it is. Shall rise yet again. And I take that as he's not going away. He'll be back next season. And more than anything, this is what I've been trying to tell people. People are just ripping on him, give it up. They act like this guy is old. This guy is better conditioned than you at 30 years old. You 25-year-olds. You're acting like, oh, but it's football. Yeah, you walk down the street, you'll pull something, right? I mean, just stop, okay? The game is tough, yes. The game is tough. But Aaron Rodgers is not, he's no slouch. And he's one of the masterminds of the game, too. He knows what's in front of him, and the fact that he's been rejuvenated. He loved the New York experience, the Jets, the team, the family of it all. It just, everything means so much. And now he wants to come back to help his teammates. This is everything about team. This is not about Aaron. This is about what should have been, and he wants to finish it. And is it just for 1 year? I'm predicting that he'll come back for that second year that he had on his contract, which would end next season. He'll get an extension. Things go well, but I think the Jets will be fine with that. It's Aaron Rodgers. And we just saw what Tom Brady did. And who's in better shape? Tom's in great shape, right? But who's a better athlete, everything? I would think Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they're pretty close in a lot of different ways, right? But why not? If Tom did it, why not Aaron? Like, why are you so hard on this guy or willing to just destroy him and say horrible things? Yeah, you Green Bay Packer fans that watched the game Monday night because Aaron was playing for the Jets and you were wishing for him to lose, all the bad things. Okay, I don't know why you would. He brought you so much more happiness. You talk to Detroit's, Cardinals, right? Talk to teams like that who just suffer. But here you are, Washington, right? And here you are ripping on a guy. And then he tears his knee up, and you're applauding, buying beers for everybody around the bar. I mean, it was like a celebration. This is not even me bringing this up. This has been all over, and I don't know if people are even talking about it. Disgusting Packer fans. Take off the cheese heads. You don't deserve it. You don't appreciate it. The guy did a lot for you. A lot. Horrible. That's horrible people, folks. I mean, what does it speak for Milwaukee or Wisconsin? Come on. I know you're better than that. And I'm not speaking for all of you because I know there are a lot of good ones out there, beautiful people. But those who did that, take your cheese head off. You don't appreciate it. You don't. All right. That's my rant on that one. All right. So Aaron comes out. What a night it was, right? I just love the imaging of this. That's why I'm showing it to you. But here's another thing. Packer fans, I think we all know this by now because it's been like blasted out. Aaron Rodgers, since he's not going to play 60% of the games, the New York Jets do not have to give up, or will not have to give up, their number one draft pick in the first round of this upcoming 2024 draft. It'll go to number 2 to the Green Bay Packers. The Packers will not get that first round pick. And that's kind of nice. And the Jets did a good deal there. The Jets are going to go get an offensive lineman. That's what I can see. No matter what part of the first round, they're going to go beef up and go, we can't let this guy get touched. And that's the truth, folks. If you're a Jet fan or a Jet front office, you're thinking, all right, let's look at every offensive lineman in the possible in the first and the third round, because the New York Jets will be selecting. This is their draft round. Okay, they go 1, 3, 4, 5, 4, 4, and 6. So they can find some linemen. I would go lineman, offensive lineman, offensive lineman, offensive lineman. It's like you're pretty much stacked pretty good. I mean, you got a pretty good team in New York. The defense looked awesome. right? And you're probably going to add a free agent here and there, right? Somebody's going to come on board, right? You're going to find some help, but go get the Aaron and go help your backup, Zach Wilson, because he's going to need some help too. And when Aaron leaves. So the Jets are sitting great. And this is a lot of negative, horrible, disgusting stuff. And it really sad. People's hearts were broken too. Ex-quarterbacks were in tears, like felt the pain of all that. It goes a long way. But I love Aaron's, he always talks about the existence. And he did it on Monday night in the pregame interview with John McEnroe. And McEnroe didn't know what it was. It was like, it's about the existence. It's not about yesterday, and it's about now. It's about now, and it's about manifestation. And he had that whole Jet team believing, and he's not going away. You think he's going away? Aaron Rodgers is going to put on the headsets like you saw in Hard Knocks. He is a brilliant offensive mind. He's going to assist the offensive plays. He's going to help the backup. He's going to be right there. The Jets are going to get a plus out of this somehow. So are the Jets going to the playoffs? I think they still got a shot. With that kind of defense, right. They got some offensive weapons. They can run the ball. They ran the ball last year. People forgot about that. The Jets ran the ball. The biggest key was, can they protect the quarterback in the pass? All right. Aaron got hurt. A lot of quarterbacks get hurt. There's always a pass rush, right? And that was a blitz too, by the way. So it's hard. It's the NFL. But Aaron Rodgers is going to be on the sidelines. He's going to be in practices. He may be even in the booth, but most likely on the sidelines talking to the young quarterback, Zach Wilson, and really working it. He actually called plays in the preseason that were just like brilliant, wide open. Like he was calling. They gave him the heads up. Remember, my mind's blank. Oh, my gosh. But anyway, a lot of quarterbacks get headsets during preseason. A lot of them do. And they call plays because they're not playing. So they keep them fresh, their mind thinking and things like that. This guy was brilliant. This guy's a mastermind of the game of football. He's seen everything, been through everything, done everything, right? The game is slow. He's the coolest cat on the field, everything about it. And the guys love him. They believe in him. And that alone helps. And that manifestation that he talked about and being in the existence, Aaron Rodgers is going to keep that together, and he's going to come back next year because he's already been preaching that way. And I think Aaron Rodgers is not going to go away for another, let's say, this year. Obviously, you know what happened. But 24 and 25, he's going to be sticking around. I'm pretty convinced. If Aaron holds up, we all, he's going to get injured. Anybody can get injured and end a career. But Aaron's mindset, he believes he's so powerful up here, folks. That's why he's a great one. And you Packer fans that he didn't deliver, and all your fans that he didn't deliver, just realize that the Packers were an average football team, folks. Aaron Rodgers elevated that team. He carried that for years. He got them into NFC championship games. And people don't see that. They got nice little pieces, but the team wasn't whole. This was a Jet team that was the best team he had since his Super Bowl run when he won the Super Bowl. That's like, a decade ago. It's crazy that Packer fans and other fans are thinking like he's a choke artist. No, he carried the team. All right. There you have it. All right, we're going to shift gears and bring in a very awesome thing. Fans, when you're talking about buying tickets to an event, especially sporting events, isn't it the fear of like, am I going to get my tickets? Like, I just freaking paid money to this dude, and they went through this system, like a StubHub or something else. Like, and you're always nervous. Like, what happens? Like, you just sent money out. You never met the person. It wasn't a handshake. Here's the money. Thank you. All right. Enjoy yourself. Here's your tickets. Right. It's not like that. Right. You're always worried about it. Well, there's something brand new. It's been out for a little bit now, and it's taken storm in North America itself. I'm going to throw it on the screen. This is the logo. You can look it up, get the app for it. P2P Tix right there, safe and secure, guaranteed. You're guaranteed to get your tickets. Guaranteed. It's supported and secure. The company will take care of it. P2P Tix. They'll take care of it if something goes wrong. Okay, and that, I don't know who else guarantees that, folks. Right. Here's something, this is what it will appear. You'll get your tickets. This is for the Cardinals Giants game. It's up, week 2, right? There it is. I don't know if that's 1 ticket or 2 tickets. Who cares? Somebody bought tickets to the Giants Cardinal games for this Sunday. And here's a basic screen of what happens. Okay. You just fill it out like normal stuff. You make the connection itself, but it's secure. And not only is secure, just guaranteed itself. Okay. You don't have to worry about going after the guy who took your money or the lady who took your money. Okay. Or the dog, who knows, right? But let's bring in somebody who knows all about it, who created it. The president of P2P Ticks is Dave Hoffman. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing great, Cornelius. How are you? It's a great show as always. I love your rants.
All right. So we livened it up. But this is a big one too, because I'm tired of, I've been ripped off once before, right? When you purchase something online, right? You got nobody in front of you. It's always the biggest fear, right? And, but you trust the StubHubs and the other things out there, or whatever exchange you're going through. But you created something because you had a real experience and you didn't want this to happen to other people. And you thought about this for a while, I understand, right? Explain more about where it began and why is it now?
All right. So I've been a Cardinals season ticket holder this is my 22nd year now. And over the last couple years, I've seen a lot of dedicated Cardinals fans attempting to sell their tickets to other Cardinals fans via Facebook fan pages or message boards or some way where one person interacts with another person. And there's a trust factor there. So I've seen hundreds and hundreds of people trying to sell tickets. I have seats in section this, row this, $100 a piece. Want to keep Cards fans in the seats. Well, shortly after a lot of those posts, you find other posts where people say, hey, does anybody know this person? I sent them the money on good faith that they were going to send me the tickets, and I never got the tickets, and I'm out the money. Or a person sells the same pair of tickets to three or four buyers. Nobody gets the tickets, and the seller collects all the money. So I thought there's got to be a way to allow these transactions to happen in a safe and secure way, where the buyer gets their tickets and the seller gets their money. And I came up with the idea for P2P Ticks. It's person-to-person tickets. It's an Arizona corporation. And the first thing that I want everybody to understand, this is not a listing site. You don't go to p2pticks.com and list tickets for sale. All of the buying and selling and negotiating takes place on other social media platforms. What happens is the seller opens an account, registers on P2P Ticks, and once the negotiations or the agreed upon price with the buyer, the seller goes in and enters the buyer's information, their phone number, their email address. At that time, the buyer is sent a notification that the tickets are theirs, and they log into their account, and they have a 6-digit code. They enter that code, and that connects the buyer and seller together. Everybody gets acknowledgments that this has been accomplished. At that point, the seller sends the tickets directly to the buyer. It doesn't go through a third party. The seller sends, and in the terms and conditions, it says they must be the original tickets from that seller's account. Goes directly to the buyer. When the buyer receives the tickets, they acknowledge receipt, and then the seller will enter into the payment process. Now, that's something that's a little bit different. In order to prevent fraud or to not create incentive for fraud, the seller doesn't get paid until 24 hours after the event. So if the tickets are bad, the seller gets reimbursed the price from P2P Ticks. The buyer gets reimbursed the price from P2P Ticks, and then we go after the buyer to remedy the situation, to the seller, to remedy the situation for ourselves. Now, if a seller completes 5 transactions without any kind of issues or problems or bad tickets, then they will get a verified seller badge in their account. And at that point, they'll be able to be paid immediately upon completing a transaction. So it is a way for, Mark Davis of the Raiders came out last year and was complaining about the number of visiting team fans in his stadium.
Yes.
We experience that with the Cardinals all the time. That's because of the big national listing sites that allow people, and they're great. I've used them all the time. But for the person who wants to sell, now there's one other quick thing. on those big sites, and this is from Forbes, so it's a valid stat, up to 40% of tickets that are purchased on those big listing sites are done so by algorithms and bots. So if you try to post 2 tickets to the Super Bowl on StubHub for half of what they're going for, StubHub will buy those tickets immediately. They'll never see the public eye, and then they'll be relisted at a going rate. That keeps the prices up on those sites, and it also makes sure that everybody's paying, in the same range. What P2P Ticks does is it allows people to say, you know what, I can't make the game this weekend. I don't need to make a fortune. I'm going to sell these tickets at face value. And they put it on their Facebook fan page, an Arizona Cardinals Facebook fan page. 5 people say, yeah, I'll take them. They make agreement with one person. They both go to the P2P Ticks app, complete the transaction. Everybody's happy. Everybody's safe. And the fees are only 7% to the buyer, 7% to the seller, which is about a third of what you pay on the big sites. So it's safe, it's secure. You're able to interact with another fan, keep fans in the seats, and hopefully everyone's happy.
Yes, one of those storylines too is even getting the right seat too. I mean, some people have been purchasing tickets and it's not even the right section. It's like there's a lot of things that can go wrong with all this too. So talk about the guaranteed more, because I know a lot of fans would be intrigued by that, because that's the fear.
Well, there's two components to that. The first is there is no incentive for a seller to send bad tickets, because if the buyer doesn't get into the event and raises a dispute in the app, we don't release the payment to the seller. So there would be no reason for them to try to sell bad tickets, to scam. The second thing is, in the event that something goes wrong and the buyer is unable to get into the event, the tickets turn out to be bad, then P2P Ticks reimburses the buyer for whatever they paid for the tickets, including fees. I mean, they're completely made whole financially. And then the responsibility is on P2P Ticks to deal with the seller and straighten that out. Now, if a seller does that, obviously the likelihood of us getting the money back from them is probably pretty slim, but they'll be permanently banned from the site. So we have taken every precaution. Now, scammers and dishonest people are very creative, and somebody will always try to find a way. But we think that we have taken as much of the risk out of this as possible, so that if you buy tickets through P2P from a seller that you don't know, who you found on a Facebook page or a fan message board, you have a trust factor there that the person's going to send you real tickets. Otherwise, they don't get paid. So that's the guarantee. You're not going to lose your money. Now, I can't say that we're going to be able to get you into the event. However, that is in the planning stages, where we have a call center that addresses that, but that's not going to be up for a while, if at all. We're going to see how this goes, and if there is a percentage of fraudulent tickets, well, then we'll deal with it. But you send fraudulent tickets, you don't get paid. There's no reason to do it.
Okay, so fees. I mean, there's a lot of fees when you buy tickets online. It's like, I bought $100 ticket, but it's $175. Like, right. What just happened here? Like, it was $100, right? I mean, that's what people are looking at, is like a fee for that, and then a second fee, and then there's something else.
Yeah, and then there's a transaction fee, and there's I want to have a fee because I have to have a fee. This is just a flat 7%, minimum of $10. So that's whatever it is, $70-some ticket would be a minimum of $10, but it's actually per transaction. So it's a flat 7%. The buyer pays 7% on top of the price of the ticket. You buy a $100 ticket, you're charged $107. The seller is charged 7%. If they sell a $100 ticket, they get $93 for it. Okay. So it's a flat fee, no hidden, nothing. You know what it's going to cost.
I get you.
Now, one of the good things about that, the fees are low enough that you can ask a little bit higher price for the ticket, because the person's still going to be paying less money.
True.
at the end of the day because they're only paying 7%. So,
and I think they'll figure that out too. I mean, they'll figure that out. I think the people get more ticked off on the extra fees on top of fees on top of fees. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. I just miss going up to the window at a stadium and just buying it straight out that way and not worrying about anything. But we're lazy Americans now, right? So where are we buying? Where can this be? Where is it? Is it global?
Right now, it's North America. The company that built my app for me is in India, and they are very anxious to get this introduced to India for their professional cricket. We're also going to be expanding to Europe to cover the all of the European soccer leagues, Premier League, Bundesliga, the Spanish league. So any event that uses an electronic ticket, you can use P2P ticks. Perfect. It can be concerts. People can list their concert tickets on the fan page, on the artist's fan page. Do the same thing they would do on a team fan page. Interact with a fellow fan who they may not know, probably don't know. Make the agreement on the transaction. Then they both go to P2P and execute it, and the buyer gets the tickets, the seller gets the money, and everybody's happy.
All right. Dave Hoffman, president of P2P Ticks. You can get your tickets direct from the seller itself. Another fan. Hey, you know what? If the Cardinals are tanking, or if they're just going to end up 0-8 at one point because they got a tough schedule, and then here comes like the Ravens or Seattle's coming in. I don't know. They got the Rams coming in. The Cowboys are coming. Hey, maybe you want to try to make a buck before, Cowboy fans are going to buy a ticket, right? I know what you're going to do, Cardinal fans. You're going to sell and say, hey, I'm going to regroup for next year and use money and save it for next season and buy my season tickets with it. You're being smart. You have a right to it. Go to P2P Ticks and get it. That's TIX, by the way. And we pop it on
the screen. On the Android and iOS. So on the Google Play Store and also on the App Store.
Yeah, Apple. I downloaded it. I wanted to check it out. Awesome stuff. It's very simple. It's very simple. It's just as simple as everything you've done before buying things online. So it's all clear and good. And I appreciate it. Hey, Dave Hoffman, again, thank you so much and good luck with this. This is a new beginning for the fan. For the fan. It's about the people, man.
Thanks for the opportunity, Cornelius. I really appreciate it.
All right. There's Dave Hoffman, president of P2P Ticks. Take it easy, Dave. All right, so I'm going to push this because I know a lot of my friends who are fans and going to shows and concerts and things like that. They're always trying to sell off a ticket or two, and hey, I got an extra ticket. There you go, folks. There you go. All right, and why not just be? This is like the unconditional love version of buying tickets because you're not going to get ripped. It's not a corporate thing going on. This is more closer and personal, right? The small 7% is going to just a fee for the service. That's it. It's not 3 different services on top of whoever in the third and the fourth person where everybody's hands in the cookie jar, right? That's all. That's what all they're doing to you. And you're paying like $75 above the ticket you just bought. Not at this, the new one here, P2P Ticks, TIX itself. All right, folks, we're going to move it on. We're going to talk more football, more NFL. I'm going to talk Cardinals also later on the back end with the Giants game. And gosh, I tell you, the Cardinal fans think the Giants suck. Just it's week 1, folks, right? Week 1. All right, let's pop on this real quick. What are the results from Sundays surprised you? Right? I got people online watching right now, talking about it right now online itself, and they have a lot of thoughts about it. I got to read your comments here in a little bit. I'm going to do a lot of comments today. I saw a lot of people dropping comments online. I'm going to read it to you also. But let me talk about my surprises on Sunday itself. Okay, yes, I was surprised that the Giants did not play well. They had a great opening drive until things went backwards. It went backwards, and then before you know it, it was a blowout. Steelers, big surprise, but they were playing a very good football team too. So, but yeah, big surprise, right? The Rams winning, was it not a surprise? The way they didn't everybody think Seattle was going to be, better and even improving because what you saw last year, Geno Smith, you just got to do it again. But this is week 1. Okay. The good teams end strong. They finish strong. Okay. And I mean, those are my surprises. I wasn't surprised what happened with the Cardinals in Washington. I think those two teams were just, they're not good. They're not good. And you just saw a fun game-ish game that just you could have won and got that first win out of the way, right? And that's pretty much what it was. Okay, that's all it was. But, you know, the surprises were, you know, all that stuff about the Broncos, and that looked like the same old Broncos, right? All right, so let's get back to week one stuff. And let's get back to what I always been preaching to you for my beginning of 8 years online live shows like this is wake me up when September ends. So wake me up when football ends in September, meaning we'll go into October. And then we'll know teams' football identity. Who are they on defense? Who are they on offense? What is going on? Where are they? Who are they? How are they? Right? All those things. Then you know. You'll have a better idea. To put everything in on week 1, 2, 3, and 4, it's hard to even be a gambler on this. You can maybe roll on the San Francisco 49ers. You can trust, like you could put a cup. Like, did you know Detroit was going to beat Kansas City? Some people had this. I had a feeling. Yeah, I wouldn't bet on. I have a feeling. Go ahead with that one. But the Lions did great. Kansas City. Guess what Kansas City did this weekend? They got Evans, right? From Kansas City, right? There's all that talk about him leaving Tampa Bay, but then they got an defensive lineman, Chris Jones. They are making sure they're secure. They're concerned about their wide receiver situation. No doubt. Kansas City is going to be fine. Are they going to get back to the Super Bowl? Who knows? It's very difficult to repeat. Very difficult. So those are my surprises and not so surprised kind of stuff, and talk about NFL week 1 itself. All right. So as we're talking about rookie quarterbacks in the NFL, all of them are getting hyped up. All of them are acting like they were superstars already. I think somebody called Fields from Chicago Bears an elite superstar quarterback, and I almost threw up on myself because I didn't see that last year or this get week 1. It's not going to happen. He'll be what he is, but he's not getting to elite status. You know, elite status is Tom Brady stuff, Mahomes stuff. Okay. Trevor Lawrence for Jacksonville is entering that elite status. Like that's fair to say. That's really fair to say. Okay. All right. So they get all this hype, and we're going to hear more about it. And it's not going to stop. But there's one story around the NFL, folks. One story that is so unique. It's so unique. We had a little splash of it last Sunday when one quarterback was the first quarterback drafted in the NFL in 2023. That was Kenny Pickett. And then there was a quarterback, was the last pick of the NFL draft by the San Francisco 49ers. It was Brock Purdy. Now, that's never happened before. Never happened before, where the first quarterback ever chosen in a draft starting up against the very last pick of the draft, right? Quarterback-wise. This Sunday, San Francisco and the Rams will be the first time a number 1 overall pick quarterback was drafted. That's Stafford from the Rams. He was drafted by the Lions, number 1 overall, right out of the gates, like Kyler Murray, right? But Purdy was the last player drafted in a draft in 2023. You've never had the last guy ever in a draft play against a quarterback that was drafted number 1 overall ever to meet in a game. This is freakish stuff, folks. It is what it is. Maybe it's the changing of the times. Who knows what's going on? But Brock Purdy has proven himself. Stafford's been a Super Bowl quarterback itself. Had a great game last weekend that surprised a lot of people too. And that's pretty cool stuff. But you're not going to hear a lot about it. I think it's just like incredible stat stuff. This is incredible because like in our lifetime, never happened, right? Will this ever happen again? Probably not. I mean, this is like winning lottery stuff. I mean, for that to happen, incredible. All right. there's that story for you. Your thoughts on that too. I'm going to get to you in a second here. Okay. And I'm going to marinate this a little bit more. Okay. So rookie quarterbacks in the NFL, their debuts. There's a couple of them on the screen right there. A few of them right there, right? You know, I got Bryce Young, right? You got the Stroud from Houston, right? You got Richardson from the Colts itself. They were just all over these guys all off season long. And like every football season, these quarterbacks flame out because they get too much hype on them. They get the start opening day. That really doesn't go well a lot. It doesn't go well for a lot of young quarterbacks getting drafted number 1 and you throw them into the fire. Very difficult. Very difficult. You can talk about some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Never started right out of the gates. Okay. I think the best and most incredible one was Dan Marino. These guys are not Dan Marino. Okay. Get that through your brains, media, sports people. You're talking like these guys are Dan Marino, the greatest passing quarterback in my lifetime or ever, who stepped on a football field from day 1. Game 1 was a rock star, record-breaking guy, and you didn't get it from these guys. All you're getting is wishful thinking, breathing on and tasting on something that but you see that throw. He's got so much. I'm not living on that. You have it or you don't. That's just plain and simple. And the great ones have it or they do not. These guys don't have it. They'll be a nice quarterback in the NFL. Maybe worse. Maybe a disaster. But they're not getting any better than nice quarterback. But we need better. We got to go further. Yeah. Okay? All right. Your thoughts on that? I'm going to read some of your comments here. All right. I got Cheryl in the house. I got Terrence Thompson in the house. Stephen Harris. Kenny Salinas. AZ Angel. How you doing? Jose Danielle Guevara in the house. And Paula. How you doing, Paula? Ron Sanchez. Los Sainz in the house. How you doing there? I know some comments here about Aaron Rodgers. I probably missed it on top. Somebody made a comment about what about if Wilson plays really well, they get into the playoffs and they go far in the playoffs, and Aaron, after 4 months, is able to get back onto the field. What about Wilson? You're probably going to stick with Wilson if he's playing that well and things are going well. But Aaron Rodgers will be the backup and ready to jump in there on any moment that he gets hurt. And that's not a bad backup situation, too. That's my take on it. That's if Aaron Rodgers, perfect scenario of him healing and recovering within a 4-month period. They say 4 to 6 months. Okay. This is not me and some dude. This is a medical report or reports from all of it. 4 to 6 months. Okay. To be back at full activity. Now, at high level football, people are going to go, what about football? What about this? Football, yes. It's not as bad as other sports, especially at quarterback. He's not jumping. Yes, he'll run and twist and turn. But if Aaron wants to get back, if he gets hurt again, another 4 to 6 months from that point on, he'll be ready for the following season, folks. So just chill. Okay. Is he going to make it back then? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. But there's been other players. There's been other players who have made it back sooner than later. And again, I go back to the Rod Woodson story. Super Bowl 30, he made it his first appearance of the football season against the Cowboys. He was playing for the Steelers at the time. He was the most incredible defensive back, special team return guy the game has ever seen. This guy was great. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a Super Bowl champion, right? He got hurt week 1. He tore up like spaghetti on his knee. Week 1, early in the game. Done for the year, right? And back in those days, you were done. Once you put on the IR, you're done. Now, you know, they put you on, you got a couple of weeks, and then they can, you know, reinsert you, or they can extend it. Like, there's got different ways. It's flexible. The Steelers left an open roster spot for the entire rest of the season where they could have filled it up for another body, because football, you need bodies, with hope that they can get to a Super Bowl, maybe the AFC Championship game, and maybe Rod Woodson could be ready for that. They had a Super Bowl team, Steelers. They had a great team that had a lot of hope, right? A lot. One of the great defenses of that era. And they got to the Super Bowl. And Rod Woodson started in Super Bowl 30. Yes, that could happen. Now, if the Jets somehow got to a Super Bowl, and that's a far-fetched, not even knowing what Wilson's going to end up being like. But folks, the guy's coming back. Is it late in January, early February, or is it next season? He's coming back. He even said it. Let's roll back to it. Okay. Oh, I got this on the screen for a little bit there. Let's roll back to this. Right here. This is a quote. Got it from Mike Jurecki, who got it on Instagram and stuff. Aaron Rodgers posted this: "The night is darkest before the dawn, and I shall rise yet again." Aaron Rodgers is not going away, folks. Retirement and all that stuff, nonsense. Just because he got nonsense. He'll be fully recovered, ready to go at some point. And if he's pushed to go in late January because the Jets had a magical year and he's ready to be there as a backup, he'll be there. Aaron Rodgers will be there in January or February if the Jets happen to be that fortunate and great to get that far. He'll be in uniform as a backup and waiting to go if something happens. And he'll be ready for next football season. And Aaron Rodgers will be back in 2025. I have no doubt this guy's going to make sure he plays 2 full seasons with the New York Jets. That's what he signed for. That's what he wanted to play for. And the Jets will bring him back. Look what he did to New York. Look at what he did to the football. Look what he did to the NFL. Do you realize when you all were watching Monday Night Football because of Aaron Rodgers? You don't think that means a lot to the NFL? That means a lot to the New York Jets and their fan base and the city itself? It was 9/11. I mean, it was magical. That's why it hurt. So it was just, right? Everybody, you know, but then there's those assholes who went, right? Those are the assholes. Those are the cold-hearted people that you don't want to associate with. You don't. You don't. You may not like him for whatever reason, but you sit there and saying that, boom. Like, what has this guy done to you personally other than beat your ass team a bunch of times? If that's the case, then you got to get a life. If he's taking your money, that's because you made a bet and he took your money, or he made you lose. But you know what, folks? This is not a political thing. But you guys are treating it like that with Aaron Rodgers. It's sad. The Packer fans watching the game in bars in Green Bay and Milwaukee and laughing and hooping and hollering when he got hurt. Disgusting. Again, take off your cheeseheads, Green Bay Packer fans, the ones that applauded this thing. That's disgusting, man. I don't even want, you don't deserve to be a Packer fan at all. The guy brought you a lot of great memories and a lot of success and a lot of good times for an average football team for the most part, especially in the latter years when you guys went to NFC championship games. He carried your asses, carried them, and almost got you back to a Super Bowl with an average team. That's how great this guy was. And you don't appreciate it? Screw you. Take the hat off. Give it to somebody else. Burn it. Oh, my gosh. It's so messed up. All right. Karen in the house, I appreciate you popping in. All right. So let's get back to more quarterback and NFL talk of week 1. And let's see, where do I leave off right here? Let's pop this in here. This is a matchup situation. This is comparison. Stroud versus Richardson. This is how much they are so up their butts, the NFL, with these young quarterbacks. We are tired of having to read and watch all these numbers about these young quarterbacks. This is the future. And they still flame out. They become average, and you push so hard and you support them and you attack people. People attack people because they think there being something wrong with you. Like you got the problem. No, it is what it is, folks. You're good or you're not. You're average or you're just below average. That's bottom line. Okay? But here we are. I'm looking at this and go, why bother with this? These are not even good numbers. This is not even good stuff. Look on the screen. This is how people are putting things out there. This is NFL Game Day, the network. Stop. Why are you trying to push this crap? Oh, I know why. Because you're trying to find numbers. Let the guys play, and then you promote what's really been good. It's like grabbing crackers, folks. Crackers. I think it was Eddie Murphy eating crackers, making a joke. This is a good cracker. This is a good cracker. It's a cracker. And these quarterbacks are crackers now. That's all you're watching until they can prove it. That's all you're watching are crackers. But they're making it sound like it's filet mignon on a cracker. It's a joke. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, moving on. Let's get back to the Packers. All right, this guy had a pretty good game. Jordan Love, I don't know if but he played a lot better than the other dudes. These other, rookies. This guy's been around, but he's got his first start as a quarterback, and a lot of other guys did too. Like there's a lot of first-timers, like Josh Dobbs for the Cardinals. I mean, there's a lot of great stories out there. 14 quarterbacks were black quarterbacks, right? People were big on that. Jordan Love did well, right? But he's been around for a while, right? And now we'll see. It's only week 1. And it was the Bears, folks. Remember where the Bears ended up last season? Let's not forget that. But we're keeping an eye on Jordan Love. We're keeping an eye on him. But he had a pretty good one, right? But this guy here for the Bears, Justin Fields, he's looking downfield, but I think he's about to run in this picture. All right, already down 31-14. All right, good luck. When your team is down 31-14, couple of touchdowns, and you're going to rely on this guy to throw the ball. Yeah, you're going to rely on him to bring you back. Yeah, the NFL, this is what you're doing. Now, Bryce Young, it wasn't a great day for Bryce Young. All the hoopla about him and the Panthers are going to win the division. Now, Saints are winning the division. The Buccaneers are going to be right there because Baker Mayfield's no push-up. He's been there and done that. And the division was a weak-ass division, so you're probably going to need 9 wins, 10 wins for sure. But I like Saints and Bucks in that order. Maybe it's the Bucks, but still, the Bucks got a great. But no, it's Bryce Young because he was the pick, right? And we got to just ride this sucker out before he flames out. So let's get as much as we can out of this. This is all they're doing, folks. Crackers. Alrighty. Moving on down to the next one. This guy had a great game for the Rams. Anybody know about this guy? Puka? I'm just going to call him Puka. I just love it. Beautiful name. Guy had 10 catches for 119 yards. Okay. For the Rams. Rams were depleted at wide receiver. And we all thought this was going to be a disaster. They smoked Seattle. Stafford looked pretty good, right? And then you're thinking, okay, what's going on with the Rams? Did we miss something here? No, it's week 1, and Seattle is an average team. They tanked last year. Remember the Seattle just fell apart towards the end of the year. So you're getting that too. But this guy, Puka. I think it's Nakua. Or Nakua. Was it not cool? I don't know. But Puka is a pretty cool name. All right. One team this was a shocker, but then again, when you sign the biggest contract in the NFL, show up on Sunday, play the Browns, your Ohio rival, division rival team, and you can't even score a touchdown. Folks, I'm going to show you something that's going to blow your mind, man. A lot of people are going to be scratching their heads like, whoa, what did I just bet on this? Okay, I'm scared. It's still week 1, but it does put a little fear factor because where are the Bengals? Now, I had the Bengals on the outside looking in or just getting into the playoffs as a wild card. And I'll tell you why. Their defense is in disarray. They lost a lot in their secondary. They try to draft, but these guys got to perform. All right? They've lost a lot of pieces since their Super Bowl run that they lost to the Rams. Okay? They're hanging a lot on this guy right here. Joey, and they're laying a lot on him. And he's coming off a calf injury during the summer preseason that he just barely got back and started. He jumped in and started. The offensive line has always been an issue for the Bengals too. The Bengals are not that of a Super Bowl team. They had a nice run 2 years ago. They got through the division last year because, for the most part, Browns Steelers started off 1-6 and nearly won the division if it didn't take a couple of games. They were that close. And the Ravens lost Lamar Jackson and basically got into the playoffs kind of backed in. But the Bengals hung on, played a little bit better, and that was it. And they had a great elite quarterback. He's not crackers, folks. This guy's not crackers. This guy's filet mignon. You don't eat crackers with it. Okay? All right. But here's the story about this. They're frustrated in Cincinnati. Right? They're taking things personal. David's Jamar, relax. Okay? Here's another news about the Bengals itself. Over 7 million Americans plan to bet on the NFL this season. 70 million. You know why? Because all the apps, you can bet online and everything, right? The most popular team being bet on are the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, think about what happened on Sunday. The people will be going, holy crap. What am I going to do? I don't know. What did I just spend? I just bet 10 grand on the Bengals. I don't know what's going to happen. I thought I knew what I was doing. Right? No. Most popular team people are making bets on before week 1 was the Cincinnati Bengals. That could be week 1 against the Browns. It could have been winning the division. It could have been winning the conference. Could have been going to the Super Bowl. People had them going to the Super Bowl, right? A lot of stuff going on. That's what I always tell you. Wake me up when September ends, folks. Then if you want to gamble something, then you have a better idea, right? Just like all the rest of the NFL teams, you got a lot of tape on you got tape on 4 games on your opponents. You can digest more. You can figure out your opponent more. Things change more. Teams know who they are, and we know who you are. All right? Kabish. All right, so his one quarterback didn't have a great game, but when the crunch time came, Garoppolo came through for the Raiders. He threw a pick in the end zone. Shouldn't have thrown it against the Broncos. But when crunch time came, he made the plays, made the throws, made a run, got the first down. Garoppolo is going to keep this team together. He may scare you, he may throw those picks, but he's still a good quarterback. He's not crackers. He's better than toast. Sometimes he gets toast, but the Raiders definitely got a good pickup in Garoppolo. And I think what you saw, they didn't really smoke the Broncos. They didn't score a lot of points, but you saw that this guy can find ways to win games, and he knows the game. He's been around for a while, and he's been in big games, folks. Right? So there you go. All right, let's moving on down the line. This guy was tremendous. Week 1, when teams are figuring each other's out, missed coverages. You can't do that when Tyreek Hill's on the field. This guy, 215 yards in week 1. Now, everybody's jumping on Tua, the quarterback, as if he's going to be MVP. Week 1, relax. Let's see if the guys can survive a season, right? The whole bit. And we've seen a lot of teams come out of the gates early and fast and furious, right? Even here in Arizona, where I'm living, the Cardinals are coming out of the gates always with winning records. They're not having losing records in September. And, the end result, right? Especially the last couple of years. All right. So here's a quarterback, Josh Johnson. He's still in the league, folks. He's played with 14 different teams in 4 leagues as a quarterback. This guy has a career. This is like Joe Biden, who's been in office in government for 50 years. like he's always got a job, right? He's always going to be making money, right? But I'd rather have this guy's job, right? Josh Jones, playing football, love of the game, everything. He's been all over. He's played with the same team a couple of times. You may see him again this year. He's a backup right now, but if he gets on the field, you'll remember Josh Johnson, 4 different leagues, 14 different teams. Still got his career going. Bless him, man. Bless him. All right, moving down the line on this list here. This is Brock Purdy, and this is not the only quote, but folks, I've been seeing this all over sports, especially the last year, this past hockey season, this past NBA season, football last season, and now this football season, you're seeing it even more. Baseball players always blessing themselves, giving thanks, looking up to the sky, the whole bit. People are now connecting with themselves. People are now in the woke mode of Almighty Father, Jesus Christ, the Lord, our Savior, right? These are athletes who are now speaking out. And remember Tim Tebow. Remember Tim Tebow? If he said anything like this, Tim Tebow, he would have gotten ripped on, right? Those people, where are you now? Or did you cross over and realize, oh crap, I better get this right, man, because ooh. So athletes, Brock Purdy, I'll read his quote if you can't read on the screen well. I believe that Jesus Christ did come down and died for me and died for my sins, rose again, and he's living and sitting beside God. Folks, he's not the only one saying this as an athlete. People walking the streets, the everyday person, are talking this way. But the athletes are showing it. They are really showing it. Pay attention to the game when it's over. You know, we can go back just a few years. And when the game ended, you had about 5 or 6 players, maybe 2 players, right? We're talking about maybe 5 or 6 years when it all changed. More players are huddling around midfield in prayer. Both sides, both teams, they just smashed each other, ripped each other apart, right? Everything. It's football. And then they're holding hands, hugging each other, praying, giving thanks, a whole bit. Yes, to that one. Folks, it's getting bigger. The crowd, the prayer on the field, at midfield after the NFL games are over. Keep an eye on it. If you're at a game live, it's getting bigger. It's like 2 dozen, 3 dozen. It's amazing. Coaches, water boys, water girls, like they're all getting in on it because they know and they believe. And athletes are speaking out. This is a beautiful time for that. And it's about time that we get on the right track for this because we want good, not the bad. And my faith also. I think you know where I'm coming from already. So, all right. What do we got here? NBA. What a transition. NBA. All the things that, right? But the NBA, before I pop this on the screen, the NBA is finally going to crack down on players and teams for sitting players for stupid reasons, right? Like, you got to stop playing players, right? And you're hurting your product. Fans are paying top dollar to go see a player they want to watch, a superstar player, whatever, and you're sitting him. They just spent $100, tons of money to watch a game, to watch that dude, and he's not playing. But that's also interfering with the competition level, too. This is what the NBA is going to do. A report. The NBA Board of Governors is expected to vote sometime today. It happened on a new policy that states a team is unable to rest 2 or more star players in the same game. I think a lot of fans loved hearing that. Now, let's see if the NBA makes this happen. And what do you consider star players? That's the point also that has to be taken. Where's the cutoff line? Okay. Now we know if you're an all-star and you've been an all-star for 3 or 4 years in a row, like whatever, like you had a nice career like that. Yeah, you're a star. But a young guy, up-and-coming guy, a superstar, a rookie, yeah, you could be thrown into that category of being a star. So the NBA is going to crack down. They voted on it. I don't know what the report is yet, if you can find it, but it happened sometime today, and maybe we'll know later on. But they opened up the door to stop teams from resting 2 or more stars on their team. I love it. I love it. This is a great move by the NBA. Great move by the NBA. All right. Before I channel out of here, I got 3 stories left. And one's car racing. One's about Babe Ruth. And the other one is just looking at a photograph of how stadiums were built and multi-purposes. And it's pretty mind-boggling. This photo I'm going to show you. It's the last thing I'm going to do. All right. And then we're out of here. All right. So here we go. John, how you doing, John? Folks that bet on the Bengals early will probably double down and bet against them to make up the difference. If I believe that Tim Tebow's career died for our sins, or I believe that Tim Tebow died for our sins. Yeah, you know what? That's pretty cool to say. Star player is probably judged by the same system they use to qualify players for the max contracts. There you go. Maybe that's the dividing line. You want the max contract? This is what you're up against. You're going to be forced to play. You want the money? This is what you're going to have to play for. You get it? That's a good one. Great one, John. JT, good job, man. I was thinking about that. I was like, where's the cutoff line? The max contract. That sounds like it. I hope they use that and something else. A little bit more. But because you got the rookies involved, and I don't know if they get they could get max contracts too, the great ones. But I don't know. Are they great until they play? NBA players, we see a lot of disasters, right? But that's the truth right there. I appreciate it. All right, here we go. Grand Prix, Las Vegas style. It's coming up, folks. They're paving Las Vegas Boulevard worth of $80 million. $80 million is costing them to pave Las Vegas Boulevard. Oh, yeah. Can you imagine the disaster right now going on in Vegas with people trying to drive around because they can't go down Las Vegas Boulevard? Colville. Oh, my gosh. I feel bad for Colville Road right now. It's like 2 lanes, and it's bumper to bumper. What a disaster this is probably going on, right? Don't even get into an Uber, folks. If you're in Vegas or going to Vegas, folks, avoid it. Get to a hotel. Okay, I'm trying to help you here. Get to a hotel in Vegas. Don't Uber it. If you Uber it, you're going to have to walk 10 blocks. Because you're going to be sitting in traffic. It's hard. It's a disaster zone, right? They're trying to see what happens, folks. They're going to have to pave it down. Then they're going to have to put up all these barriers for the race and fencing. And are you going to allow them to come onto the track for the normal person who's going to drive? No, because you're going to do burnouts. I would. I'm like, yeah, I'm on a freaking Grand Prix. Some dude's going to get on with his Camaro and do some dragging on it. They're going to protect that thing. $80 million worth of stuff. Right there. Vegas is a mess. And then they're, forcing restaurants and bars and other casinos and other stuff to they're going to block them if you don't pay a certain fee for the viewing of the track on Las Vegas Boulevard or anywhere where the Grand Prix track races or runs through. Man, this is like some type of monopoly crap going on. Folks, just freaking drive. Put up some link fence, man. Right? I mean, just do it. All right? If somebody gets blown out, the tire, and rolls into, fine. You got barriers. That's all you got to do. Put the fencing up. I've been to Grand Prix. It's nothing special. I know some of you love it. And I know the Europeans love it. Or globally wise. It's kind of like a big thing. But I've been to a bunch of them. And all I see is, yum, 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 yum. And my ears are freaking blown out because freaking loud. Right? If you like, great, but you better put some plugs in, folks. Hey, if you're close. Whoa. Right? The best place is to sit on a turn where they got to throttle down and take off because it's quieter. That's all I can suggest if you want to go to this thing. Okay? Because other than that, you're drinking, looking at boobs and guys and muscles and whatever you got there, ladies and gentlemen. Because other than that, it's a party. And you're trying to hook up because I don't know what, because I don't think you're really into the race. Because if you're rooting for somebody, you're like, all right, there we go. Oh, that wasn't him. He had a 7. It was a 1 on his car, right? Like that's what happens if you're on, especially if you're on a straightaway. And then you see the back of the tires, right? All right, that's what happens at the Grand Prix. They had it here in Phoenix. It's called the Iceberg. Had it like 2 years in a row. I was always there. It was something that was like, all right, that's like my first time doing Grand Prix. I'm like, holy crap. And it's, you want speed. And there will be times in this race, I can tell there will be speed, some straightaways. But NASCAR, you get to see every car. You get to see their whole travel around the oval track. And yes, it's a circle and goes round and round and round, right? But there's some speed involved. And there's straightaways, and they open up throttle, man, boom, and you get to see it. And it's a different energy. I've been to both of them, and I like speed and cars and fast cars. I like the Indy 500 is probably the only Grand Prix, Formula One car that I can appreciate because it's basically a NASCAR track. You know, you got to do the back stretch and down the stretch, the home stretch, right? They can open it up. Now that would be fun to watch. The Indy 500 with the Formula One cars, and there's a couple of other ones in the circuit for Formula One like that. But for the most part, it's just zigzagging, turning, twisting track, right? And it's just and you don't really get to see it because when they pass you, they're like somewhere else in some other neighborhood. Like, all right, they're in California now, coming back. I mean, it's really that. And then and then watching the other cars and just watching cars. Just go to the freeway. Go to your local freeway and stand there on the overpath and watch. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. And you pay top dollar for that. Alrighty. Babe Ruth. I'm going to read this to you. Okay. Because it's small print and it's a great story. This is why this is the greatest baseball player ever. For one, you see what's going on with Ohtani right now. Broken down, can't last the season. Babe Ruth didn't do that. Yeah, Babe got hurt here and there, like most athletes. But the Babe was still the Babe. The Baltimore native, New York Yankee, Bronx bomber himself. Listen to this story. His love for all people. He loved kids. But he also loved his fellow black man. Right? He's Black American. And the black baseball player. He associated with them. See, folks, this guy was an ambassador of baseball, globally, domestically, everything. And I'm going to read this to you. It's something you may not know about the best player ever to live, Babe Ruth, actually played against Negro League players to help make them money. This guy, because he's Babe Ruth. So he goes, you know what? I'm going to go play with these guys. These are great guys. They play ball. They're awesome. But they're not making money because, you know what? The black guy. Baseball wasn't accepting them. So Babe went into their stadiums and played baseball with them to help them raise money, bring in tickets. The audience, the black audience coming in there seeing Babe Ruth, everything. What a beautiful thing, folks. What a beautiful, beautiful human, unconditional love, Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth actually played against Negro League players to help make the money and try and bring awareness to how good these players actually were. According to Buck O'Neill and Monty Irvin, players in the Negro Leagues received the equivalent of $1 a day. When Babe Ruth joined them, listen to this, when he joined them, he would bring them each $1,500 to share among all the teams. That's a lot more money. Ruth was, for a long time, an advocate of the integration of baseball. He is the GOAT of baseball. Babe Ruth, George Herman Ruth, the Bambino, the Sultan of SWAT, and the ambassador of sports, the ambassador of America, and the ambassador of the world, of unifying people. He saved baseball. He helped the black baseball athlete. If it wasn't for the Babe, this is part of the Babe Ruth effect on baseball. This guy put him everywhere and anywhere and still was able to produce at high level. Amazing. He is the greatest of all time, folks. I don't care what you say. For what he is able to do. And he's doing it off the field. But he's got to go and perform and do it, and he does it. And he's able to go out and sell the sport because of his status of greatness. Year in, year out. The Bambino, man. The guy has story after story after story. The great Bambino. That's Sandlot story right there for you, folks. All right. One more before I let you go. Just look at this baseball stadium. Okay. Look at this baseball stadium. A lot of stadiums are getting multi-purposes. They pull out stadium fields like they do in Vegas and Arizona and other places, and they resurface it and they're able to blow out or take out like one of the stands and extend it out to be, something else, or, a basketball, or maybe, soccer, or maybe you get a baseball game here and there, right? But back in the day, they would make a stadium and try to make it for multi-purposes. Okay, so you play football, but you also got a baseball team playing there. Look at this one. This is a baseball stadium back in the 1920s. Yes, folks, dead center is the other end of the end zone on the football part of the field. Okay? Wow. Look at this. So, yes, a short porch to left and right field. Yeah, it looks like 250 maybe, but if you hit it to left center, right center, or dead center, you're screwed. But if you hit it over their heads, it's like Little League. You run around the bases, right? It's pretty cool. But, this goes to show you the evolution of stadiums and things like that, and how things have come so far along. But this is how they did it back then. And they didn't care. It was like, this is what we got to do. This is what they had to do back then. This is pretty extreme for what we know today. But back then was probably like, this is it. Okay. Remember, baseball was played without fences before they put in fences, right? So it's not unusual for the fans back in those days to see all this stuff. I love it. I like showing stuff like this. Okay. All right. So we got week 2 coming up in the NFL. All right. We'll be doing a show on Friday morning. We're going to be doing an NFL preview about all the games, everything else. Maybe I can help you make a bet. I don't know. I don't like betting, but every time I do, it's like I usually lose because I see things differently. Gamblers have a different way when they make a bet. Okay. Maybe it's a system, but who knows? But I do know this. I got to get out of here. Hanna Time is like about to end. Let's put up the music. Right? Here we go. The music's up. Cornelius, Brad, Hanna. I want to say hi to my last few. Kathy in the house. How you doing, Kathy? Lucille, Lucy in the sky. With her awesome husband, too. Let's say hi to John Shears, Kathy. His spirit is with us. And how about my daughter, Cornelia, who has to put up with me? Oh, there she is. She's in studio. All right, guys, we love you. We'll see you soon. Hanna Time, Cornelius, Brad, Hanna, right here. Global Sports Broadcasting Network. Yeah, we'll see you soon. See you Friday. Let's go.